Hey, hi there. Hi everyone. Welcome to MzansiOZ Diary. My name is Connie. I just wanted to come here and say, yeah, I'm so glad that Miss South Africa, it's Mia Leroux. Mia Leroux is such a great representation of South Africa. So I feel like the fact that she's got more disability and it's actually more fitting. She didn't win this pageant because of her disability. She won it outright for being with her grace and beauty and everything. Well played, yeah. So that's what I always recommend for people in terms, even in your career, that you should not go to the job and be part of the tick box of you are a person of diverse background be your first introduction. It should be about what you bring to a workplace, business, what your experiences been, what is something great about you that you can offer to an organization. For her, this is a beauty pageant. Yes, there's a lot of beauty issues around. There's a lot of very interesting things about beauty pageants. Not so much about beauty anymore. It's just also about representation of the country and also showcasing the culture of that country internationally and so on. So you might have, I might have said, it's a beauty pageant, but it's a lot more going on in there. So yeah, I'm just so glad that we finally have move on to a new phase of diversity in South Africa. So just something more about people from diverse background because of their experiences, they bring about really diverse, unique way of in doing things that can be really helpful for a company or even from government perspective. So I am so glad that recently South Africa has actually crowned Mia Leroux as Miss South Africa 2024 after all that drama. So I want to talk about her specifically because she comes from a very diverse background. As I said before, diversity can include a lot of things. It can include people with disability, it can include people from low socio-economic background. Um, they can also be included in that because they bring about diverse way of doing things and diverse ideas and concepts. So that can be helpful in any society, and we should embrace that. So, but recently I did mention that sometimes this diversity can be misused, where people are just being hired and to be the token, and because of some perception and to attract certain clients into their organization to come about and buy the product because they can just bring about someone who's diverse as the face of that organization to for many we are accepting of people's ideas who are diverse, but in most cases end up being just a token. And sometimes it can also be weaponized. And I gave you a few examples from Australian and also, questions about American politics, the DEI higher. Looking at people's experiences, what they offer, there's just so much. So glad about Mia because she's just example of the positive way of how diversity should be actually used. So proud. Mia Leroux, she's an African woman and she's an African woman who speaks Afrikaans. That's the first language. That's the language that's only spoken in South Africa, and she also speaks Afrikaans. She also speaks English. She is deaf, so she wears a cochlear implant. So without that cochlear implant, she wouldn't be able to hear anything. So I like the fact that she competed with all those able-bodied people, with everyone else, and they actually included her. The way they demonstrate how they included her, it's actually simple thing as having an interpreter there. Even though she wear a cochlear implant,
the cochlear implant has its pros and cons, and one of the cons of it is that when you are in an environment where you're competing, there's a lot of background noises, people, kind of screaming and very exciting. It can pick up all those background noises for her, and it makes it so difficult for her to hear. So they actually offer that South African interpretation of the sign language. So sign language is different for each country. In Australia, we have the Auslan. South Africa has its own sign languages. That's why the sign language now is included in the official South African languages. It's in the 12 South African languages, the sign language. So if when she goes overseas to represent South Africa, she'll then need to request a South African sign language interpreter.
I talk about the differences between Australia and South Africa. I also talk about business and everything in between. So I'm so glad that Mia Leroux is Miss South Africa. And I mean, she just she's so wonderful, and I'm glad to see that South Africa has moved from race. And I know that we've moved that for a long time ago. That we moved away from classifying people onto races. I know there's still some people who are hang offend about it, and I was so amazed about, just so surprised, generally surprised about how people that I thought they were very much smart and educated, into understanding that where South Africa is different than most countries in Africa. So we are Rainbow Nation for that reason, that we are people of diverse culture, language, and ethnicity. So just because she's white doesn't mean that I don't recognize her culture. I grew up with her culture. She's Afrikaner. She spoke English. English is a second language, so she is multilingual like most South Africans are. So it's very strange to find someone in South Africa who just spoke one language. Most people speak South Africans, not, if you're first migrant in that country, obviously you may be speaking your language and something else or English, but most South Africans.
Yes, so most South Africans do have are bilingual, so they would speak their mother tongue and another in English. So it's very rare to get someone who is born and raised in South Africa who doesn't speak a second language. You can understand why Adechima was raised a lot of eyebrows, in South Africa when she said she grew up in Soweto and her mother was Zulu and she could not speak Zulu. And so, for all of you people who like to scam people, this is my advice. If you're going to scam people, especially South Africa, Zulu, it's not a language that you want to mess around with. Okay, it's not a culture you want to mess around with. That's my advice for me as a South African. I can give you that advice. Okay, until I put another video next time, you guys have a lovely week. Thank you. Bye.